City of dreams, city of...
Hello and welcome to this, the very first episode of Night City Wire, a brand new series from us at CD Projekt Red where we'll be talking about all things Cyberpunk 2077. For today's episode, we'll be starting with a brand new trailer. One of our developers will be joining us to help unpack everything you're going to see. We'll have some news, an announcement about a secret collaboration. We'll be taking a look at some braindance gameplay and welcoming back our developers just to have a chat about everything you're going to see. But there is one more thing. Media all over the world have been getting hands-on with Cyberpunk 2077, and when this episode finishes, you'll be able to go and check out exactly what they thought. So, let's get started. It is time to take a look at our brand new trailer, and after that, our lead quest designer Pavel Sasko will be joining us, because I've got a feeling you're going to have a few questions after watching this. So, let's take a look.
I'm with it.
First trailer.
I love this town. The city of endless opportunity. Ready to get your cherry popped? Yeah, come on!
City like any other, just bigger.
Nah, mano, not just any other city. Legends are born here.
The major leagues. We're only here because Dex is pulling the strings. Doubt that puts us in the same league as them.
But we are. They just don't know it yet. But if you got the cojones and you know how to use them, you can do damn near anything.
Unless you catch a bull.
Even then, you go out with a bang, right?
You know, you can make heaps more eddies as a motivational speaker.
Yo, Mr. V, a pleasure.
So what's the gig, Dex? You meant to come out in one piece? How about we go over the plan?
There's this prototype tech, a biochip to be precise. Jobs to grab it.
Guessing it belongs to a corp.
Arasaka.
We're robbing some heavy hitters.
Thought you could blackmail me, fucker?
High risk, high reward. First rule of the afterlife.
Ka-ting, baby.
Goes without saying, we do this on the hush. Ideally, no bodies, not a one.
Sounds simple enough.
He's lit, assholes!
Thanks out.
Don't you worry, mi amor. We're bulletproof. Get your ass moving now!
What the fuck just happened in there?
Can't stop digging Night City.
Fucking major leagues. Happy now, Jackie?
Yep, that's fucking high! Time to bail!
Oh my god, we're so fucked.
Hey, bro.
That's going to be such a serious problem when it drops.
Damn risky, V.
And you, who are you? Fuck.
So the trailer contains footage from the game's prologue only, but there was an awful lot in it. So, Pavel, why don't you try and help us unpack everything that we just saw?
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely, I can try. So, what you have just seen is only the prologue of the game. So, that awesome stuff is only happening in the first few quests. What the trailer shows you is really our stage, the Night City. You know, this gigantic city built of 6 completely unique districts, surrounded by the 7th one that we call the Badlands. As a player, you are meeting Jackie. Jackie's your friend. Now, they together are trying to reach out for something that is very precious. They are trying to reach out for this chip of immortality, this gateway to eternal life. Jackie introduces you to Fixer Dexter Deshawn. He's a very important person in the social ladder of Cyberpunk. He is able to provide the player with various jobs and contracts to be able to gather money, to be able to modify their bodies, push themselves to the limits, to put their hands on the chip. But as you can expect, not everything goes as planned, and but to see it, you will have to play the game.
There are an awful lot of really cool things in this trailer, and there's a few that I would just love to talk about a little bit more for the people at home. So let's start with talking about a gang called the Mox. Now, we see a few flashes of them in this trailer. I personally think they're really cool and one of my favorites, but can you give us a little bit more information about them?
Oh yes, so the Mox is one of the gangs that player is going to interact with throughout the game. The Mox is the gang that has been formed in 2076 after death of Elizabeth Borden. She was called Lizzie. Now, she was owner of a brothel and former sex worker, and she was protecting working guys and girls from harassment, from abuse, and the gang is really continuing her mission. And as a player, you are going to interact with that gang, meet multiple different NPCs, and craft your own relationship with them, and understand what they are all about.
So earlier on, you did mention a 7th district, a place called the Badlands. Now, we saw a few shots of this in the trailer, but I'd love for you to give us a bit more detail about the district outside of the city walls.
Okay, so the Badlands is this like dead, dried out space going around the whole Night City. And as a player, you'll be able to traverse that space in your car or motorcycle. This is a space that is inhabited by the nomads. Nomads are living in different families and are traveling across that space in convoys made out of the cars and motorcycles. And as a player, you'll be able to traverse and access.
I couldn't tell. I was trying to figure it out. It was like a fake
dope
Cherokee
on the
or a station wagon.
Awesome feel.
Station wagon on the outside.
In the trailer, we also saw like a completely metal creature. Now, he didn't look like he was from the Maelstrom gang. This looked like something else. So please tell the people at home, who is this giant metal monster?
Okay, so that big dude, that was Adam Smasher. He has been introduced in pen and paper in Cyberpunk 2020 by our senpai Mike Pondsmith. Adam Smasher is a fully converted cyborg. He was always a loyalist of Arasaka. And time has changed, and in 2077 he had to find his own space in Night City. But to find out, you'll have to play the game.
In this trailer, we do see some flashes of a Ripper Doc called Victor Vector. I think if people have watched our previous gameplays, they might remember him. But I'd really like for you to give the people at home some more information about what Ripper Docs are and how they'll be interacting with them when they play Cyberpunk.
So Reaper Dogs in our game, they are surgeons. They are like a specific type of a job in the social ladder of Cyberpunk. They are accustomed and specialized in replacing limbs to the metal ones. They can basically update your body, enhance your body, change you into this walking war machine. And as a player, you are going to meet different kind of Reaper Dogs in the game, craft your own relationship with them. Some of them are like important characters for a story. Through that, you will invest eddies that you're gathering to turn your body into this tool that allows you to survive on the streets of Night City.
Pavel, thank you so much for joining us. I know you'll be back later in the episode
Kinda
because
cool
you're going to be
having
helping
multiple
us to
ones you can go to
analyse the
probably for
Braindance
different upgrades and
gameplay.
stuff.
But before that, we do have some news to share. Earlier in the year, we announced that if you pick up Cyberpunk 2077 on Xbox One, you'll be able to play it on Xbox Series X when the console launches. And just in case you missed it, it will be the same for PlayStation players as well. If you pick up Cyberpunk 2077 on PlayStation 4, you'll also be able to play it on PlayStation 5 when the console launches. And that's not all. There will be a free upgrade for Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, but we'll have more details on that soon.
To Night City.
Before we reveal our first look at the Braindance gameplay and welcome back our developers for a chat, there is just one more thing we want to announce. Something that we've been working on in secret for a while. We are very excited to announce our partnership with Studio Trigger and Netflix to bring you Cyberpunk Edgerunners, a standalone anime set in the Cyberpunk universe, which we've been working on for some time now.
Hey, bro,
Edgerunners
slide
is
that
due to
one
launch
in the DM.
Too. But for some more
Trigger?
information, let's
Okay.
go to the team in Tokyo.
Hi, my name is Saya Elder. I am the Japan-based producer for Cyberpunk Edgerunners. What I do basically on this project is that I am a fixer, to put it in the words of the Cyberpunk universe. We are a game company. We are a bunch of nerds, and wherever there are nerds, there's going to be anime fans. So it was always a dream for us to make anime. When we began this project, we were certain that we didn't want to make a recreation of the game. Cyberpunk Edgerunners is a standalone story set in the same universe. The stage is still Night City, but everything else is totally new. New characters, new story. I do like to think that it's going to be a great gateway for newcomers to come and check Cyberpunk game and also the Cyberpunk genre as a whole.
Dope.
Right now we're in Nakano, which is one of the biggest anime meccas of the world. I'm going to take you to Studio Trigger right now because we have the wonderful opportunity to talk to the Dream Team that will be bringing you this anime.
こんにちは。トリガーの代表取締役の大塚です。
監督の今石です。
キャラクターデザインを担当する吉成です。
ゲームのサイバーパンクのファンの方、今回初めて触れる方両方に満足していただけるようにアニメを作るつもりです。よろしくお願いします。
今回はそのサイバーパンクという僕らが10代の一ファンにしか過ぎなかった頃に生まれたジャンル、そういうジャンルのものをまた、時代が何周もして作れるというのが非常に楽しみです。
トリガーも10年ということで、監督に今石、キャラクターデザインに吉成というトリガーの最強の布陣で、トリガー10周年にふさわしい作品にしていきたいと思います。お楽しみに。
2022.
Yeah, I already know what to expect from Trigger.
Now it is time to show you some gameplay of Braindance. This is a feature that you'll experience when you play Cyberpunk 2077. Braindance is essentially a recording of somebody else's experience. It allows you to relive their sense of sight, smell, touch, and even hearing, all thanks to a special device. After the gameplay, I will be welcoming back Pavel Sasko, and will also be joined by Patrick Mills, our senior quest designer and all-round lore master, who will be helping to answer your questions and give you some explanation on how you'll be interacting with Braindance when you play Cyberpunk 2077. So, let's take a look.
Plan simple, do nothing odd, don't get creative. You go in, snatch the cash, get out, and we sell the BD to those psycho freaks from the studio.
Got it.
And remember, everything on full blast. They'll spot us extra for a wicked adrenaline high. Okay, on you go.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, Ty.
Down, everybody, on the ground. I want to see you kissing the flooring. Money, now, or I will fucking drop you, I swear to God. Well, yeah, hey, now, before I blow your fucking head off! Ah!
Slow, deep breaths. Your cortisol and adrenaline spiked, but the soft activated your hormone blockers. Nothing happened. You're alive and well.
That was too much. Could feel the guy's pain, his stress, his hope. Hope wrapped up in something else.
Mm-hmm. Probably took a booster just before. You'll be fine. Got everything set up? Let's switch over to editing mode. I'll sever the link to the BD Roller's sensory array. You'll be able to look around freely. Whole scene's yours. Full cam control in analysis mode, so move around, zoom in and out, whatever else you come up with. Think of it as your own little sandbox. So, analysis mode, you control playback. Can even pause when you feel the need. Then you use the editor console to unpause. Try it.
Plan simple, do nothing odd, don't get creative. You go in, snatch the cash, get out, and we sell the people to those psycho freaks from the studio.
Got it.
Dream as hell, right? Well, that's not all. You can
speed
speed things up.
There you go. Okay.
Whatever you like. Give it a try.
What?
Rewind. Roll it back to the top.
What is happening?
Traffic, is he experiencing like a memory? Was it a program or something that can go back
in somebody else?
Yeah.
Plan simple. Do nothing odd. Don't be creative. You go in, snatch the cash, get out.
Okay. You can also reset the recording. That'll take you right back to the beginning. Try it. Now for some fun. This here's why you came in the first
He was trying to get that code.
In analysis mode, you get to view and even scan details of the enviro recorded by the BD Roller. Focus on the heat.
It's about
gun
files.
this gonk gets from his buddy at the beginning. Now scan it.
Plan simple. Do nothing odd. Don't get creative. You go in, snatch the cash, get out, and we sell the BD to those psycho freaks from the and remember, keep them less. There's only something right.
Okay, right here. Excellent. Let's move on. Now heads up. In analysis mode, you can ferret out background noise and conversations if the roller got close enough. This tech records everything, every little detail, even the sights and sounds the roller was never aware of. To see the sources of the recorded sensory signals, switch to the audio layer in the editor. Go ahead and try that now. Okay, good. Now you should see several sound signatures in the store. Choose one and hone in on it.
Pack of 6, case of Brosif, and a couple of zappers.
Okay, we have a deal today on 2 flavors. Cuddy and surf. Everybody!
So, any thoughts?
Unbelievable. Seriously, like what's happening right next to me.
Yeah, it's how BD recording implants work. They pick up everything, all the elements in the background. Then an editor tweaks, makes them pop. Keep playing with the sound, explore it a bit. We'll move on when you get bored.
What I see you kissing the flooring! Money! Left!
Sometimes you can analyze extra layers in the raw, stuff the roller's cyberware picked up.
Like what?
Ev's got Kuroshi optics that grab infrared, meaning you should be able to grab heat signatures from her recording.
Huh. Hella nice.
Scanning works on peeps, too. Walk up to the wounded chick. Try scanning her. Alright, next thing. Scroll forward to the part where our artist gets a lead injection.
Bro, I'll fucking drop you, I swear to God!
His own man busting.
Now, fucking head off!
Unless the store clerk was like, nah.
See that? They shot him and he never saw it coming. But you will. Here it comes. My favorite part of the game. See the blinking thing over the entrance? Surveillance cam. Must have caught our shooter. You'll see in a sec. Cam feeds to the screen behind the clerk. Roll back to where the screen's in the kid's field of vision, then scan it.
Hey.
His own Chumba shot.
Told you it was his man.
All along. Must have got a nice slice of cred on the black market for a BD like this. BD freaks are ready to pay a preem for a real flatline. Anyway, if you've seen enough, you can exit. Yeah, it's impressive, right? It's too bad most of the BDs we do here are only good for flogging the log.
So Braindance is a pretty big part of the Cyberpunk universe. It's not just something used for adult films. There is an awful lot to it. And there's 2 sides I'd really like you guys to help me explore. First is the lore, so how this actually fits into the universe. And then there's the gameplay side, so how players will be interacting with it. So Patrick, could you tell us more about the lore of Braindance?
I would love to. So in the world of Cyberpunk 2077, Braindance was invented way back in the early 2000s at UC Santa Cruz. It was developed as a way of recording a person's experiences and then playing them back for someone else, so that they could relive them as though it was happening to them. It was originally used for things like therapy and prisoner rehabilitation, but by 2077 it's become this global media industry, including things like movies, mass entertainment, things like that, video games, some interactive things, and of course adult fare as well. Now, in our game, we deal a lot with black brain dances, or XBDs as we call them, and there are different types of those, but the one that you saw in the trailer just there was a flatliner. Now that's where the person recording it actually dies during the recording. And it's popular with sort of an illicit kind of thrill, but a mercenary can also use them for various things, and you'll see that in the game, of course.
And from the gameplay perspective, we have been working a lot throughout last years trying to figure out the best way how to use the braindance in the game as a mechanics. So what we have settled on is this braindance editor mode. As a player, you will be able to run the braindance in the editor mode and see different clues that have been registered on the peripheral of
This game game's gonna
given
give me
access.
anxiety,
Now,
bro.
you can slide on the timeline of
Too
the
much to do.
back and forth.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be
different
overwhelming.
clues. And that clues are actually telling a story in the game. So as a player, you will run different investigations that will lead you to different mysteries, and you will uncover them actually using that brain dance as a mechanics in the game.
So, as Pavel was saying, we use Braindance as a storytelling tool. It's not a collectible. It's not something where you're going to go in and you're going to play it and you're going to be like, I've seen this before. What we use Braindance for is to give you a keyhole into the life of the residents of Night City. And we can explore things like childhood trauma, religion, various philosophical ideas in a way that you might not otherwise experience in a story about a mercenary on the tough streets.
So we've tried to talk about some of the aspects that we think the community will find really exciting, but you know, while you're both here, I'd love to know, what is it about Cyberpunk that you guys are really excited for? Patrick, why don't you start?
So one of the things that I'm most excited about in this game is the characters and the way they interact with the world. We've got this really interesting world that stretches all the way back to the Cyberpunk 2020 source material and all of these events and all of those things, but those don't mean anything unless they connect with characters. And so when we come up with a character, we start with their function. What is this person? What do they do in the story? But we don't stop there. We go back and we figure out, what was their childhood like? What was their upbringing like? What kind of obstacles did they face in this harsh reality, and did they overcome them, and how did they overcome them, or did they not overcome them, and why? And you can see all of those things in their environment, in their dialogues, in sort of how they operate in the world, and we come up with that for all of our characters. Now you look at someone like Victor Vector, and you're going to see stories about his past in his environment and in his dialogue. You know, we come up with that stuff even if we don't use it in the game, because it helps inform us as to who these characters are.
And for me, I would not be myself if I would not say that I'm the most excited about our quests. Like with our Witcher 3 team, with Patrick and like everybody that has stayed with us since the Witcher 3 time, we really have grown so much. We have learned so much, and we have used all that experience to put them into the quest that we have made. And you will not find really a filler in this game. Like everything has a meaning. Like we put so much effort into making sure that everything is rewarding, is interesting, is talking about characters, as Patrick said, is talking about worlds, is talking about emotions, like touching the player in a really, like a real way. And I just can't wait to find out what you think.
Pavel, I know you mentioned story and quests and writing quests, and when I was last in the studio, I had a look and I saw a notebook on your desk, and I would love for you to show everybody this notebook.
Okay, Holly, I mean, you asked for it. So this is my notebook. It says Salsa Quest Designer. The reason is because I dance salsa, and I'm a quest designer, so you know. So I started this notebook actually when we were really starting Cyberpunk at the very beginning.
What does
I
that
wrote
say?
Like a first note, and it says pretty much something along the lines of that we were starting with a prototype. And then, you know, I kept on basically noting things that we've been working on for like next years. I remember once when our concept artist actually approached me, and they said that they want to take a look at my notebook. I was like, what for actually? And they took some pictures and they told me, yeah, well, you know, because we are looking for a reference material for notes of a psychopathic killer. Yeah, well, you may find maybe some of my notes in the game.
Pavel and Patrick, thank you so much for joining me. I'm pretty lucky because I have read some of the stories that you and the team have written for Braindance, and I'm pretty excited for people to discover them. But before we do finish today's episode, there is just one more thing we'd like to talk about.
Do it.
Really?
Earlier in this episode, I mentioned that media have been getting hands-on with the opening of Cyberpunk 2077, and they should be posting their impressions right about now. And if you missed anything from today's episode, don't worry, we'll be uploading everything to our channels very soon. And finally, on behalf of everybody at CD Projekt Red, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us for this very first episode of Night City Wire. But don't worry, we'll be back with episode 2 in just a few weeks. So, we shall see you soon.
How many episodes do you think they're gonna run? Because we have pull that stream out. Because otherwise you ain't gonna be able to hear me in a second.
Oh no, I'm about to pull it out right now. there we
What do you
go.
think? We got till November.
They said in a few weeks, so I think one a month maybe. So that was June, July, August, September, November. About
4 episodes, 4 or 5 episodes.
4 or 5 episodes, yeah.
I'm Alright, look, man. I'm not.
I'm excited for it. It is gonna be a lot. Like that's one of them games. Like I need to be off, like that Friday or whatever. Like leave me alone that weekend. What's happening, Chris? And like just you know what I mean. Like I need like a 3-day weekend to lock in.
Nah, you need 4.
You think 4?
You need like Thursday, Friday.
Thursday, Friday, or like Friday through Monday.
Let me think. That joint's coming out on 19th. That's a Tuesday.
That's
a Friday.
Let me check. 'Cause that's Mom's birthday.
I know.
See.
That's what I'm saying. You normally take that off anyway. Don't
Yeah, that's a Thursday. So yeah, you're right. For me, it'll be Thursday, Friday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I would have been taking that off anyway, most likely. So yeah. So yeah, I'm locked in. I'm locked in that day.
Friday before Black Friday.
Yep.
All right, so let's keep it a buck.
Go put it on the calendar now.
Is this game coming out same day?
This is the same day
consoles as the new console.
No.
Will the new consoles already be out?
No.
Are they coming out that Friday? This joint come out Thursday and they coming out that Friday?
More considerate with the time of when these are coming out.
The week before. Because there was a lot of speculation when they pushed this back. Because the game's supposed to drop in September. So like last week before, whatever it was, they pushed it back to November.
Right.
Okay, cool. Y'all need a little more time. Y'all got to do some Q&As and testing and stuff like that. Cool, I get it. That's cool.
Right.
But, you know, there's a lot of speculation that, like, the timing that they chose for how far they pushed it back to being November 19th is, like, that's, like, right before Black Friday. And that probably means that either of those systems will be... I can't see the PlayStation 5 or the Series X dropping after Black Friday.
You're right.
When those two systems dropped before, it was around like the 14th, 15th, something like that. Like they were like a week or 2 weeks apart. When they dropped before, both were in November. So, in my head, bruh.
Yeah.
In my head, the truth is that joint either comes out the same week or it comes out actually after those games come out. And the only reason why I think they're even saying, hey, if you buy it for this, you get it for this, is because they're expecting people to pre-order. And you can't pre-order it for one of those systems. So what they want to do is, they don't want people to not pre-order it, thinking they won't be able to get it. You know what I'm saying? Or try to wait.
Right.
They want you to go ahead and do it.
Chris is saying the 22nd. Lightning is saying the 22nd. He thinks that yeah. That's Sunday.
That's that Sunday.
Sunday following, yeah. He said the 360
so
and the one dropped.
Sunday?
He said the 360 and the Xbox One dropped on the 22nd of November. Both of them.
I mean, it's totally possible. I got the PlayStation being out before then, if that's the case.
Okay.
But I feel like the intent, the original, if you remember, they mistakenly posted on Xbox's website Thanksgiving.
Right.
For the release of the Series X. So that's about right.
Yeah, it's right there. It is.
Because again, I cannot see this happening week after. It just doesn't make.
Now, with them possibly coming out that close together, would you wait to just play it on the Series X?
What? Yeah. What? Yeah.
Just asking.
Not gonna waste my time or my technology. You know what I mean? I want it all. Yeah. Nah. I wouldn't. Nah. Like if we're talking, if that joint drops on the 19th and the Series X is dropping on the 22nd, I'm not playing that joint until the 22nd.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, that might be the first joint I pop in.
That's a wrap. Like that's a whole, like there's plenty of other stuff I could be playing. Like I could be playing like Assassin's Creed Valhalla and then waiting and you know what I'm saying, doing the upgrade for that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nah, I would wait that out. That's real. Now here's the other thing that's tricky. It is this game. This game was the first game that was announced to take advantage of smart delivery.
Yep.
For the Series X.
Mm-hmm.
Just now, they went ahead and made it clear that they're basically doing the same thing for PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here is the thing that is going around now that I didn't really consider at first because it doesn't technically apply to me. But because PlayStation 5 has two consoles, one that's disc, one that's digital.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the word on the street is, and this is the thing that happened with Madden when they did the EA thing last week or whatever it was. Yeah, last week. Was that, you know, if you buy Madden, buy FIFA, whatever, you can upgrade to the next generation console version for free. But if you buy the disc, and then you get the discless version of the PS5, you can't upgrade.
Okay.
So, like, if you buy the digital version, let's say you buy the digital version of Madden for the PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm.
When you buy a PlayStation 5, you can upgrade to the digital version. But if you buy the disc for the PlayStation 4, and then you end up getting the non-disc version of the PlayStation 5, you can't upgrade.
Wow.
You can't upgrade. And so now,
that's interesting.
It's all this speculation, and this game being kind of at the helm of that, I want to see how they're going to handle that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it's understandable if you buy the game and you have one version of it, you can upgrade to the other. How does that apply if you're using a disc? I honestly hadn't really thought about it because I only do digital anyway. So how does that apply if you only have the disc?
That is interesting. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
And if they actually do have this Lockhart console for the Xbox, which they're saying is probably going to go ahead and get dropped, especially now that PlayStation has announced that they have two consoles, how will that affect this as well? You know what I'm saying? See, like, if you're one of the people who had decided to buy the Cyberpunk version of the Xbox One X, you can have it. You have it now. You have a digital version of the copy of the game, so you're good.
Right.
You decide to upgrade, which I don't know why you would if you just bought a One X.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? When you do in the future, whatever they do updates and all that or whatever, yeah, it goes with you and you're good. But for all of the people who are still like, nah, man, discs are important. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't have the internet bandwidth to do whatever. How does something like this end up being affected by that?
I'm thinking people that go buy a disc one, they're going to upgrade to another disc system since they have a choice. They wouldn't get a discless one unless they pull the trigger, but still that is an issue that needs to be addressed.
So then are you paying for the game again? So I'm very interested to see, like, is it going to be in the next episode of Night City Wire? Are they going to address that? Because I think, calling out that if you buy this version, you get the next version. Okay, but you haven't said, if I buy the disc, are you going to send me a disc? How do I get, you know what I'm saying? Do I, because I have the disc, automatically get some sort of an upgrade digitally, but I have to do it digital? You know what I'm saying? Like, how am I affected by that? And that's the thing that I feel like we haven't gotten good information on, and I think because CD Projekt Red kind of led that charge alongside, you know what I'm saying, Microsoft, that they're probably going to be the first ones to actually say something if, like, Microsoft doesn't say something themselves as far as the way smart delivery is handled. Because it is up to the individual developer whether or not they want to take advantage of that as an option.
Right.
They could just say, nah, man, like, if you buy the disc, buy another disc, because we had to spend the money to manufacture another disc or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Or, you know, they had, like, that trade-in program, I think, going into the 360 and the PS4, where, like, you could take your old disc and take it back to, I guess, the retailer you got it from or whatever, you could upgrade to the other version for, like, an extra $10 or something like that. So maybe it'll be something along those lines, that you'll have to do something like that if you have the disc, but nobody's talking about that. And I feel like that's going to end up being a thing.
You think Microsoft will mention it in their thing in July?
Possibly. But the thing about Microsoft mentioning in their thing, I think that they will for sure if they actually introduce
the Lockhart, yeah.
And that system has no disc. which would make sense because they already have systems that don't have a disc. But if they do that, then I think, yes, they would have to address smart delivery and how it affects the people who buy the disc, you know what I'm saying, of a game. That could be a major thing. And it could be a major factor in people deciding whether they buy the version without a disc or not.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Very true.
That could translate into digital sales. And when you think about it, for Microsoft and for Sony, there's way more money in it for them if you buy digitally directly from them than if you buy a disc from another retailer. So they would, I think, want to push this as a, well, you know, just buy digitally. You don't have to pay to upgrade to the other version.
If they decide going with that original model that they use, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking the difference is. And what they're not saying is, oh yeah, if you buy it digitally, you get it. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna have to see. I think if anybody is going to be willing to take that kind of a chance, jump to a version of a game that doesn't have a disc, for people who normally buy games on disc, this would be the catalyst.
It's a big enough game, yeah.
And to me, with a game this size, of this caliber, once you go digital here, you see how easy it is. You're just gonna
just gonna be in.
Going.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you got a Game Pass subscription. You know what I'm saying? Like,
realize you ain't gotta look for your disc no more. How fast it reads, and you ain't gotta read from the disc anymore. Once you come into that world, you're not going back.
Right. It's kind of how it is, and I think that's really, you know, that's really what they want. So it's going to be really interesting, and I think that there's going to be something to this. And I think that they're going to be looking for some level of assurances. Like, again, you know, EA had that whole thing where it was like, well, you only have a certain amount of time to upgrade.
Right.
And they walked that back. But still, Chris says, I think digital sales will be high anyway because with COVID around, store limitations, people. I mean, you're right. But people can still order a disc from Amazon and have it shipped. You can still order a disc from Best Buy and have it shipped.
GameStop,
Have to go. And what COVID is going to look like when it gets cold again and we're in November, considering chances are you might be ordering and waiting for your entire console to ship to you via mail, like that could be a whole other ball game. Like we just don't know. So you're certainly right about that. But yeah, it's not, midnight releases are not a thing anymore. I wouldn't do. This is a big enough game that it could have people waiting outside.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people would just wait and probably would buy it Black Friday.
Very true.
You know what I mean? Like,
but like I said, with COVID, who knows how Black Friday is going to work now? With when COVID comes, you know. I mean, that'll be scary.
Yeah.
That'll be scary. Curbside pickup for consoles.
I mean, that's real though.
Yes.
Tyrone, All-Star.
Yes.
Hey, listen, on facts, like, this is easily one of the biggest games of the year. This is game of the year potential. And another thing I want to bring up, since we're here and we're talking about Cyberpunk, because that's the whole reason we're here.
Yeah.
Last year, one of the things that we ran into was games like Jedi Fallen Order came out like November 15th, 16th, something like that, like right at the very end. Because of when it got pushed back, and it came out after the cutoff for the Game of the Year for Game Awards. I do believe that this game now falls beyond the cutoff
for Game of the Year.
For Game Awards for Game of the Year for this year. So we will be having a discussion about what Game of the Year looks like. Not this week, probably next week. Depending on what happens. There's a lot happening. Just to kind of see where we are halfway through the year already. What we're looking at, what looks good for Game of the Year. I mean, Cyberpunk is already looking like it would be the Game of the Year.
Yeah.
For most people. So we'll have to see. I'm amped for this joint.
Oh yeah.
I'm scared though.
I'm excited.
I'm anxious. I feel this is a game that I probably never finish. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I'll start it, I'll get into it, I'll be all excited into it, I'll be digging into it. I'm gonna probably get 20 hours in. Then something will happen. Something will happen that's co-op. and I'll be like, ooh.
It all depends on how much.
Let's play Halo Infinite. Let's just jump in and keep playing. You know what I mean?
For me, it all depends on how much the stories like pull me in.
How far did you get in The Witcher 3?
I barely touched Witcher 3.
Exactly.
Like I'm still like in tutorial mode. Like
you felt the same way. You felt the same way about Witcher 3. You might be more interested in this as far as the aesthetic.
No, I just haven't given Witcher. I haven't given Witcher 3 like any kind of time. I'm probably like 30 minutes into it, like for real. I'm just not giving it like time yet.
I understand. Trust me, it's overwhelming. Hard H. Straight up. Yeah, Game of the Year probably should be done in January. It's just that it's so tricky that by the time with a game this large, for people to actually have the time to play it, get into all the ins and outs, the nuances and so forth, you would have to wait until like March before you could really do. I mean, there are some people who are playing preview versions of it now. I'm positive that people will get early copies of it, but there's still probably gonna be a day one patch. Gonna come out. You're gonna get your new console. You're gonna have to upgrade it to the higher quality version of it, and do a day one patch on top of that. It's gonna change things, fix things, whatever. So really, we're not even gonna really be able to rely on reviews that come out, and I'm almost positive reviews will come out ahead of the release for this game.
Of course.
But you're easily talking March before you can really and truly consider this with everything else. You know what I'm saying? Just push it to March. I'm down. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna tell you what, man. I was a little concerned because most of what CD Projekt has done has been in the Witcher universe. It's been a very different style, a very different look. Designing horses and horseback riding, and monsters is very different from designing vehicles and how the cars feel and drive.
First-person shooter and all that stuff.
And it's first person, like how it's gonna feel. Like I have a lot of faith in CD Projekt Red, just because of what they've done with The Witcher. But we got to keep it a buck. They've really only done that with The Witcher, and so going into something like this that is a very different genre, I'm looking at vehicles and there's vehicle combat and how important are the vehicles? How much does it have to do with traversal and you know what I mean? All of that kind of stuff.
Everything. I agree with what you're saying. I would say everything that I've seen so far looks good. It looks like they're on the right path with everything I'm seeing so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks can be deceiving.
Yes.
And we know this in video games.
Yes.
For sure. But I do have faith. I'm looking and I'm like, it don't look like it might be.
Oh yeah.
High pitch moisture. It might be a problem.
Yeah, I
it's
think
gonna
it
be
will
a problem.
I think
if
it will
the day one purchase easy, I'm probably gonna pre-order it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I need it pre-downloaded. Whatever I gotta do, just have it ready to go.
And the realistic answer is whether or not I play it right away or wait for next year.
I think that just depends on the length between when both of them come out.
Absolutely, based on when those release dates are.
If it's like a week in between,
I have a feeling that Microsoft is going to go hard. I think they're going to go hard in July and be like, here's the games, here's the boxes, here's the prices, here's the date, slap your pre-order. Because I really feel like they're in their best interest. They need to get people's money down on the box sooner than later. And they need to be Sony to the punch. And if the rumors are right about what Sony's charging, man, look, if the rumors are right about what Xbox is charging, you can forget it. It's already over already. It's already over already.
I know in July I will have my browser open, ready to put down that cash.
Straight up.
Ready.
Straight up. On facts, this game looks incredible. I'm super excited to see what they do in the next episode. Because they're doing this episodic content, it clearly means they have a lot more to show.
Yeah.
And considering all of what we've seen is only in like the prologue.
Yes, that was a lot for just the prologue.
That's why I'm anxious.
This is gonna be a massive, massive game. Yeah.
I'm thinking 100, 120 hours. 80 hours minimum. Probably like if you don't try to do everything.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But I always try to do everything.
What? I'm swinging for the fences. All the upgrades.
Just the idea, like listening to them talk about like the different ways you could build your character and what, like what? I don't know.
Oh, I'll probably sing character creation for probably a good 2 hours at least.
I'm not even joking.
At least, yeah. Just fine tuning and getting it right. Yeah.
Hey, listen. I'm gonna tell you what, Selby. You can wait a month.
We'll be streaming it. You can watch us.
Yeah, I ain't finna wait no month. Like I don't have any. This doesn't come off like a Fallout 76 in any way, shape, or form to me. Like CD Projekt Red's games are pretty tight. Like I would say, for all intents and purposes, they might be the best developer that isn't Nintendo.
Okay.
Maybe them and Naughty Dog. Like Nintendo games come out and they are like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Clean,
like
yeah.
It ain't like Bethesda gets a lot of love. Their games sell like crazy, but everybody knows they're gonna be janky. You know what I'm saying? Like CD Projekt Red joints are pretty solid, bruh. Like I don't have. Come on, Chris. Hey, listen. I didn't forget Rockstar. But Rockstar doesn't put out games often enough for them to be in the run. Like if you take 10 years to make a game, that joint better be solid. So stop playing with it. You know, like that's just Rockstar's clean. They got a solid, you know what I'm saying, run, but yeah, they doing too much. Grand Theft Auto 6 is probably at least another 4 years away.
Yeah, it'll be a while before we get our hands on that one.
At least another 4 years away. And they never gave us the story DLC for 5. And they lost their lead dude. Dan Houser gone. It's a different ball game right now.
Yeah. Right now it's on
Projekt.
Is it what?
Dudes, CD Projekt. Them dudes they're clean right now.
Right now, I got mine on November 19th. Get my hands on this game.
No doubt. I got mine on July. Cause that's gonna tell me
more information.
What's
Yes.
gonna happen in November?
Yes.
I need to do
Yes.
for November. I really feel like, you know what I'm saying? Now we getting. Look at this. Oh, Kingdom Hearts 3 is garbage. Final Fantasy 15 was actually pretty clean, bro. I might have to. It was. I got to push back a little bit on that. Final Fantasy 15 was pretty clean, and they did like 3 versions of that joint. They got the little chibi joint.
Yep.
I don't know why they did it.
The pocket joint or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, like Square's weird. Anyway, look, that's Cyberpunk. We're gonna get back on tonight. The actual cutscene show is happening tonight, 8:00.
Yes.
So the two of us will be on. We'll have we'll have a Jokes on with us so that we can get his take on what happened with this. And there's so much to talk about. There have been so many trailers and so many games. Summer gaming is popping right now. So This evening we'll be back on to really dig in depth and talk about some of the things that are happening. Yeah, tune in. It's gonna be a little bit of a wild one. I got some plans planned.
Of course.
I got some plans planned.
Of course, couple curveballs.
Look, y'all make sure y'all tune in, whether it's the YouTube, the Facebook. We'll be back 8:00 tonight, and in about an hour, the premiere of the second episode of Anime Vault goes live. That's all about Project A-Co, so y'all make sure y'all check that out. That's going live at 2:00. Facebook, IGTV, YouTube. Y'all get on it. With that, we're going to wrap this up. Appreciate y'all being in the comments. My man said he'll be in the peanut gallery. Bro, ain't no peanuts, bro. Bring your own snacks. Loading snacks. We out. Deuces.